Hello, everybody. My name is Janet. You can call me the Cake Literate, and you're welcome to my delicious cakes bakery. So today, I'll be sharing with you my most beloved cake recipe. I stumbled on this recipe in 2018, and I've been using it ever since, and it's been absolutely amazing. So today, I'm very happy to share this recipe with you. I have tried it hundreds of times. Like I use it a lot and it is amazing. So let's go over the ingredients. We'll be needing flour, sugar, eggs, of course, butter, and I have a little bit of shortening. Sometimes I like to mix my butter with shortening sometimes. Um, Baking powder, oil, vanilla flavor, and any milk-based flavor. So personally, I don't use milk for cakes. I don't use milk for cakes at all. Now, the reason why I don't use milk for cakes is because we are in Nigeria, and Nigeria is a very, very hot, country. So milk tends to spoil cakes faster. You understand? So I don't use milk for cakes. I just substitute the milk for a milk-based flavor, and that has always worked for me. Of course, if you prefer to use milk, by all means, you're fine. But this is what I do, and this is what works for me. So we'll start by measuring the ingredients. We'll be measuring this recipe in ounces, not in grams, but I'll convert it to grams and cups for you, so you can, whichever one works for you is fine. For this recipe, I use ounces instead. So, but I'll convert it for you, so you can try this recipe with your grams or your cups. So, for my flour, um, I'll be using 16 ounces of flour. So this method, for this cake, I use the reverse method. This same recipe, you can do the regular, creaming method, but I do the reverse cream method for this particular recipe. It's how I learned it. It's how I do it. But I've also tried the normal, cream method, cream the butter, sugar, eggs, everything. It also works perfectly. But I have always been using the reverse cream method, and it works perfectly for me. So for this, I'll be needing 16 ounces of flour. So when I'm measuring my flour, I always like to sift my flour as in I sift my flour to measure it. I don't sift my flour first and I'll measure. No, I sift my flour directly as I am trying to measure. So I'll measure in 16 ounces of flour and we'll be back at it. So I have measured my 16 ounces of flour. Now I'll be measuring into this 20 ounces of sugar. So like I said, I will add the measurements in cups and in grams for you. So flour 16, sugar 20. And into this, I'll be adding 8 ounces of butter. But I always like to mix my butter sometimes with a little bit of shortening. So I got to take in a part of it as shortening. So 8 ounces. So let's just say I'll measure like 6 ounces of butter and then 2 ounces of shortening into it. Now the shortening is not compulsory. I just like it. Perfect. 8 ounces. So now we're going to be mixing this together until we have all the flour and the shortening butter mix properly incorporated. So while we do that, we then measure our liquid recipe. So I'll be for this particular part, I'll be using the paddle attachment. We'll mix this and then I will measure liquid ingredients and then we'll get back to you. So for this recipe, we'll be using 7 egg whites. Yes, egg whites, not the full egg, because I need that. So this makes the cake very fluffy, very white, very moist. You understand? So we're using 7 egg whites, not the full eggs. So you might ask, so what do you do with the other with the egg yolk? You can use it for mousses and things. You understand? There's so many recipes that you can just use the egg yolks for. Now, if you want to have, so can you use the whole eggs? I would say that it's not going to come out the same. You understand? The recipe will not come out the same. So for this recipe that I'm showing you, it is egg whites that we use. So for this recipe, if you are someone that serves desserts, or you know, if you have like different, like I just use one for your more exclusive cakes, you understand? And then so um just the egg whites for this one. So I've washed my hands. I will be splitting this the way I know how to, which is pour it in my hand, and then the egg whites just falls out. So I just take this out like so. This was how I was taught. So, and I find this much easier and faster for me, gives me cleaner, splits. So, so I have my egg whites here. And as you can see, this flour is still mixing. Yes, it's still mixing. Just leave it. It's supposed to actually mix for like 10 minutes or thereabout. So now to measure my baking powder, 2.5 teaspoon of baking powder. So this is my teaspoon measurement. So that will be 2.5 teaspoon of baking powder. Teaspoons of baking powder. I'm pouring that into my flour. So now I have my 7 egg whites here. So into this 7 egg whites, I'll be adding 12 ounces of water. Like I said, I don't use milk. This can be milk for you. You can replace it with milk, but I personally, I don't use milk for cakes. So we'll be pouring in 12 ounces of water, and into this I'll be adding just 1 ounce of oil. So that I don't add too much oil, I'll be measuring this with spoon because it's just 1 ounce. Perfect. 1 ounce of oil. So into this I'll be adding a milk base. This is condensed milk flavor. So I'm just adding 1 cup of it into it to give me the milk taste without me having to actually add the milk. Like I said, the weather here in Nigeria is very hot and people don't usually handle their cakes properly. So that people will not say, oh, my cake got spoiled, whatever, whatever. I skipped the milk. So I'll be making a vanilla cake, and then I'll also be teaching you how you can be able to turn this into any cake flavor. But for this, I'll just be going with plain old vanilla. So for me, your vanilla cake is very important. Red velvet chocolates, those ones are enhanced for flavors. But vanilla cake is just like the plainest flavor you get. It's a very plain flavor. So people tend to, dismiss it, you understand. And that's the reason why I'm always very particular. If your vanilla cake is not great, if your chocolate velvet cake is fantastic, you miss it for me, you get, if you don't have a fantastic vanilla flavor. So yes, that's the reason why I pay so much attention to my vanilla cake. So now I'll be adding a cup of my vanilla. This is concentrated vanilla flavor. So just 1 cup of it is okay, more than okay even. So now let me show you what your mixture should look like, you understand, when you've mixed it properly. This is what your mix should look like when you're done with it. It should look like this. For those that are Africans, Yoruba, this one should look like melon, blended melon. You understand? That is when you know that, oh, it's been well incorporated. So so you've seen what it should look like. Then we put this back in the mixer, and this is where we then introduce our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. So make sure you have everything. If anything is settled, make sure that you scrape it all back inside. Yes, you don't want to mix or miss anything. So now we're going to be mixing this first on low, then we will increase the speed. Now for this one, you'll be mixing it for like 10 minutes, you understand? So once it is incorporated and I scrape it down, you will mix it very well. You get this one needs to be properly mixed. It's not a soft mix, you mix it very well so that the whole butter, sugar, flour, everything will be very well, bonded together before you put it in the oven. So this one is just for me to, put the ingredients together. So I'll stop it now, and then um I'll increase the speed of it. It's looking so white, lush, good already, and we've not even finished the process. So that is the power of having a fantastic, cake recipe. You understand? Even from the mixing process to you will just know that what you're about to do, is going to be great. So I will be bringing the camera closer for you to see the mixing process. I'll also be setting a timer so that I can be able to see how long it was mixed for. This mixed for 5 minutes, and we have this beautiful fluffy butter. You get it. I don't know if you can see this, how beautifully lush it is. So I'm going to be putting this in the pan now, and I'll be baking it. I will check the exact temperature and also the exact minutes, and I'll let you know. So into my pan it goes. Yeah. So our cake is ready. It baked for about 1 hour on 130 to 150 degrees, and this is the final look. So I'm just flipping it out now. So let's cut into it and I'll show you up close what it looks like. So this cake is a bit on the sweet side, just a little bit on the sweet side. So you don't want to pair this cake with any sweet frosting, like maybe the Nigerian buttercream or any sweet icing sugar-ish buttercream. You want to pair this with something very, mild, like whipped cream, like mousse. You understand? Perfect. But if you pair this with the Nigerian, style buttercream that is like, the butter and sugar cream together, it will be very, very sweet. So you have to be very careful the first thing you use for this. So here is the inside of the cake when you cut into it. Can you see that? It is so, so, so good. Like, it's so moist, it's so soft, and it smells really, really nice. So let me know if you'll be trying the recipe, and when you try it, please send a picture of it or a video of it to me, either via Instagram, DM, or TikTok, or whatever platform it is that you found this video on. So thank you very much for watching, and have a beautiful day.